diaspora, most particularly those who are descended from those who had been captured and brought to this country and forced to labor without compensation. One of the reasons for that, brother, is that the brothers are still, of course, tied primarily and most persistently together by bonds of ethnicity, what the Europeans prefer to refer to as tribalism. But they use it in a negative sense. So to the extent that I may use the term tribal or tribalism, I mean no slight, no negativity about it whatsoever, but rather simply to speak in terms that people are familiar with. Different ethnic groups are classified or referred to as tribes in the context of Africa. And usually the loyalties of our brothers and sisters on the motherland have more to do and are more directly associated with their ethnic connections and tribal connections than they are with their racial connections. Because whereas we here in the West have been subjected to most of the negatives that we've suffered from at the hands of the Europeans, so we have a common oppressor, so to speak. With respect to the brothers and sisters on the continent, their traditional oppressors and opponents and competition has usually been other ethnic groups of Africans. So they don't necessarily see the European as the primary protagonist against them and the primary obstructionist in the way of their gaining full freedom and self-reliance and self-determination. So if in fact someone is going to be able to make the case that all Africans, irrespective of ethnicity or tribal differences, need to put the primary focus on our racial collectivity as opposed to ethnic or tribal, it has to come from those of us who in most cases don't even know what tribe or ethnic group on the continent we are descended from anyway. What we do know is that we're all African. We're all an African people. So the fact, as it turns out, the fact that we seldom, if ever, know of our ethnic or tribal ties on the continent, in this respect at least, turns out to be a benefit because we don't have that to squabble over. So that is a part of the reason, I believe, why Brother Idi Amin indicated that he felt strongly that the leadership towards redemption of Africa as a whole was more likely to come from the diaspora than from among the continental Africans themselves. Our good brother Jeff Donso, for whom we are making this particular tape, is of the same or very similar position from his own experience, contemporary experience. And that is that based upon what he has witnessed and experienced in his own life, the greater likelihood is that to the extent that we are likely to win the war, I should say, of liberation of our motherland from the clutches of those who intend to and seek to oppress us, that leadership is most likely to come from those of us who are here in the West, most particularly those of us here in the United States of America. And so we are anxious to work with Brother Donso and the organization that he has aided and assisted in bringing into existence, the Right Choices Community Association in this particular case, and bringing the message to our people there in the UK that they too are in the same or very similar situation as we are here in the US. We are Africans in the diaspora who are in a much better position to be able to focus on the needs of Africa as a whole without regard to specific ethnic or tribal groups, which can tend to be conflictual. So because of the fact that we are in the diaspora and our commitment and dedication is to the entirety of the African continent and its peoples, we are in a better position to be able to bring objectivity to the needs of our motherland to be made totally free and independent of the control, dominance, and influence of people who are not themselves Africans and who do not have the best interests of Africa or African people of any ethnic or tribal identity at heart.